Alright, Astro van video. There hasn't been much Astro van content for good reason. It's running like a top, man. I got no problems. Things running awesome. I couldn't be happier. Other than some miracle happening and I suddenly get amazingly better fuel economy. Why am I here? Here's the thing. I've been getting some comments on some older videos about misfires. This is a common thing with the Astro vans. And it could be caused by all sorts of things. I was getting that P0303 code. I was on these forums and Facebook groups, and I've said it before, not all the advice you're going to get there is accurate. Not everybody's van is the same. There's different issues going on. And yeah, so it's a thing. I was turned on by my buddy Aaron to get that pan-long code reader. It's a little blue thing that plugs in underneath your dash there, and it's great because it'll tell you what your code is. It'll help you troubleshoot the code. It'll help you clear your codes. That's great. I decided to replace a lot of the parts anyhow. My mindset being preventative maintenance. There's a car's from 2004. And I'm thinking, let me just replace everything, right? I'm out in the middle of nowhere a lot of the time. I would rather just have new parts in there. I'm trying to always go with the AC Delco stuff. I replaced, the plugs, the wires. I swapped the plugs around. I swapped the wires around. I changed the plugs and the wires out a couple times, trying to get better stuff. I buy most of my stuff off of Rock Auto. They oftentimes have the AC Delco parts. So that's what you want, is for the most part. When it came to doing my spider injection system, I went with the standard brand because that was all Rock Auto had for the last generation, 2003, 4, 5. And then I did it again, and somebody turned me on to the fact that I should go back to Rock Auto, look at the part number for the standard brand for this third generation, and compare that to the number for the second gen, because if you go to Rock Auto and you look up the second gen Astro vans, they actually sell the AC Delco spider unit there. And because the standard brand number was the same, I knew I could get that AC Delco part. So I got the AC Delco spider injection system. Point of interest here, first time I did it, when I put the standard in, I did that up at Dave's house. It took all day. Of course, I was cleaning all the parts as I took them off. And when I replaced it again, and the reason for that I'll get to in a moment, it's the reason for this video. It's my best advice I could give you if you're having, should have started the video out like this. The best advice I can give you if you're having a random misfire. We'll get to that. It took all day the first time, but the second time I did it in my driveway in 2 hours. Pulled all that apart, swapped it out, put it back in, lickety split. Now, I also did the O2 sensors, and I did a whole Y pipe assembly with the catalytic converters. Point of interest on that. Rock Auto, California compliant, $751 delivered to my door. That was the entire Y pipe with the catalytic converters attached. Last week, I got a thing in the mail. I had to smog it because I live in California. Look how excited I am. Let me show you my living in Los Angeles excited face. This is how excited I am about living in Los Angeles. So, yeah. Anyhow, compared to $1,400 or whatever they want, or $2,400, I don't even remember what the prices were, but they were insane. I brought it into a shop to have it smogged. The guy got underneath the van, made sure all the O2 sensors were hooked up, looked up the numbers on the catalytic converters to make sure they were correct, California compliant. He saw the exhaust and everything, and it passed with flying colors. So if you were on the fence about that, I'm here to tell you it worked for me. It should work for you. Now, back to the other stuff, right? So I did the coil, I did all the sensors. The crank position sensor was a thing. In the beginning, I was told that I should do that, and I was told I should do the computer relearn. And I thought, as I mentioned a moment ago, I want to replace all these parts anyhow, just for the preventative maintenance. I did the distributor like 3 times. I finally stumbled, because it had issues. If you watch the videos, you'll see it. I was turned on to, I can't remember the name of the company, but I was turned on to an all-metal distributor off of Amazon. That came with a cap where the little conductive points on the inside of it were aluminum. I wanted brass, and that same company made an aftermarket cap that fit that distributor that had brass in there. So I did all that eventually. And I eventually brought it to my mechanic because I was at my wit's end. And I was having a lot of other issues, right? Dave and I put the engine lift brackets in, and they work great. But the first set that he made for me, his jig had got knocked off, and he was unaware of it. So I was getting this engine vibration on top of everything else, and all this was happening at the same time. It's very hard to diagnose an issue when you have multiple issues. You know, like there's multiple problems going on. You're trying to solve one particular issue, but they feel semi-related because you don't understand what's going on, you know? I'm not a mechanic. So, which I always recommend, go to the mechanic. Get your little pan-long code reader, try to troubleshoot your own codes and try to fix it that way. But if you can't, you got to go to a guy. Now, here's the thing. I went to my mechanic. This is the one guy I finally found who's awesome. He's like about a mile from where I live. And we tried the computer relearn. And he did it one time and it didn't work. And he said, I think it's your injector. There's this after I put the standard brand Spider injection system in. So I bought, like as I just explained, I got the AC Delco version. I put that in 2 hours, went back to him, and again, he did the computer relearn, and it wasn't working. And I said, well, do it again. So he did it again, and then it worked. So I want to bring this up. Number one, you're trying to troubleshoot your misfires. You've replaced all kinds of sensors, the crank position sensor, and your spark plug wires, and your spark plugs, and your distributor, and you've done all these things, and you're at your O2 sensors, and you are at your wit's end. I'm telling you, all you need to do is the computer relearn. However, a couple things. Number one, not all shops have the computer. That little computer could be $4,000 up to $15,000. It's crazy. So not all shops splurge on that. So you need to call around in your local area and make sure that they actually have this computer. Different companies make them. I think my guy's got a couple Snap-on versions. So they just plug that in underneath your dash, and I don't remember the whole process, but basically they have to rev your engine to a certain RPM and hold it there, and I think they have to do that multiple times, and I'm watching him do it. So he's got this chart that's showing what's going on, and then the computer at the high RPM is relearning itself with all the new sensors. It's making everything jive. And all of a sudden, it just all goes clean. And everything's in sync. And that needs to be done. Okay? So, and it might not happen the first time. And point that out to him. Say, look, if it doesn't work the first time, we should do it 2 or 3 times. And if it's still giving you something, then that's what we should try to solve. But it's probably smart for you after you're at your wit's end. You're looking for this misfire. It's driving you crazy. Pay the guy to do the relearn. I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure it was under $100, but it could be $100. It could be $150. It could be more. I don't know. I don't think my guy charged me that much for it. It might have been like $80 or $90. It only takes him a few minutes. It's not that big of a deal. So that's my advice. This is my advice. If you have an Astro van, and probably any other vehicle, that has a persistent misfire, random misfire, go to the pros. Because if you're not a mechanic and you're like me and you've been working on cars all your life, we can't think this all out all the time. These guys go to school. They learn, how to do things correctly. Order of operation, the first step in troubleshooting different issues, figuring out whether it's fuel related or electrical related, or you got a loose bolt somewhere, And with these electrical parts sometimes, you replace the part and you think that was it. It might have been all it was loose. If you were to take the old part, put it back in, it might still work fine. So and if you're replacing a bunch of parts at the same time, then it's hard for you to determine what the problem actually was. So there's all this stuff. And even though I've shown you guys what I've done in the past, I'm always trying to remind you, I'm not telling you to do what I've done. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. If you were to watch all those videos, you'll see, there's things I did that didn't work. So now I'm here, I'm still working on this. And even in those comments sometimes, they're like, that van's a piece of garbage, you can't figure it out. Yeah, because I'm guessing. But my mindset the whole time was it was worth it because I was putting new parts in it. Because I want this thing to be as new as possible for the types of adventuring I'm doing in it when I get out of this friggin' city. whenever I can. Every chance I get, I'm out of here. So that's what I'm saying. Computer relearn, put your new parts in and everything else. Have a field day with it if that's what you want to do. If you've got the money and the time and the tools and the place to work on it, there's nothing wrong with replacing all your sensors and putting a new distributor in, all that stuff. It's pretty straightforward, simple stuff. But after you do all that, go to a shop and have them do the computer relearn. It's easy for them. And then everything will jive together, and then you'll be like me, firing on all 8 cylinders. Hope this helps. Have a good day. Be good to one another. I'll catch you guys in the next one.